Good evening. Welcome to Reading Things with a Southern Accent 2020 episode 54. Each time that number goes up, it blows my mind. Because that's a lot. Yeah. Producer agrees. Producer is here with me tonight. Little producer, the four-legged producer, is also with us tonight. But he's asleep on the couch, and we're not going to disturb him. So we took a couple of days off. We wrapped up Dr. Seuss last week. Today is Tuesday, May the 26th. The year is 2020. And we are in the safer at home phase of the coronavirus, corona apocalypse, quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. Neighbors outside are having fun. Governor Jared Polis of the state of Colorado has lifted the dine-in service ban. So in the state of Colorado, now the entire state, restaurants can have dine-in service, but at 50% capacity. Folks have to wear masks. Should be fun to eat out. You have to have 8 feet between tables or something like that. And then I guess there's a limitation size of parties can't be any bigger than 6 or something like that. So that is the news here from Colorado. Tomorrow, this becomes available. So we are seriously considering going out to dinner tomorrow night. Not sure yet, but it is a conversation that is happening here at the Reading Things with a Southern Accent headquarters. Hi, Sarah. Unrelated, completely unrelated, is something that I just read. The Cruel World Festival in California, which was going to happen this summer, it was going to happen in May. At first, it got postponed to September. It's been completely canceled. And that was going to have all these ridiculously great 80s bands like A Flock of Seagulls and Morrissey and Bauhaus and Blondie. And they are all going to play. There was this huge lineup. I think The Cure was also on that list. Yeah, it was going to be amazing. Completely canceled. And I think it was the inaugural year of that festival. So that's not happening. I had tickets to go see Bauhaus in September. Sorry, I have to focus. So we're starting a new week here. Jason Cannon. Glad you made it. Doug. Which Doug? Doug Westenskow? Mm-hmm. Hi, Doug Westenskow. What? Oh, right. New theme this week. So we wrapped up Dr. Seuss last week, starting a new theme. The new theme this week is... It's a British Southern accent. Producer says British Southern accent. We are going with Jane Austen. I have to hold it here because if I do it up here, it's out of focus. You can't really tell. So hold it back here. Jane Austen. Tonight, we will start. So hand selected by the producer herself. She rode her bicycle up to Next Page Books on Main Street in Frisco and picked up the only 2 Jane Austen books that they had in the bookstore. So we're going to do some selections from the Jane Austen books over the next at least week. We have 2. We have Pride and Prejudice, which is here, and we have Emma. You said Emma was the first? No, Sense and Sensibility was the first. Okay. These are her 4 books. I think most of her novels have been made into movies. Yeah, I know. Whatever. Jane Austen, born 16 December 1775. So the year of our, or was it 1776? 200 years before the producer was born. Jane Austen was born, 200 years. She died at 18 July 1817. She was an English novelist known primarily for her 6 major novels, which interpret, critique, and comment upon the British landed gentry at the end of the 18th century. Austen's plots often explored the dependence of women on marriage in the pursuit of a favorable social standing and economic security. And favorable is spelled with a U because that's the proper British spelling. Her works critique the novels of sensibility of the second half of the 18th century and are part of the transition to 19th century literary realism. Her use of biting irony along with her realism, humor, and social commentary have long earned her acclaim among critics, scholars, and popular audiences alike. Now, if you have ever sat through a Jane Austen film, because a lot of these books have been turned into films, I don't get any of that. I'm sorry. I think some of the stuff's funny, but wait, didn't they just make a funny Emma?
Yes.
All right. Jane Austen was born in Steventon, Hampshire, England. Blah, blah, blah. What was the other thing I wanted to read off of this? Meh. She wrote Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, Emma, and I don't have the other ones here, so that's fine. So we're doing a selection from Pride and Prejudice tonight. Pride and Prejudice is a romantic novel of manners written by Jane Austen in 1813. The novel follows the character development of Elizabeth Bennet, the dynamic protagonist of the book, who learns about the repercussions of hasty judgments and comes to appreciate the difference between superficial goodness and actual goodness. Its humor lies in its honest depiction of manners, education, marriage, and money during the Regency era in Great Britain. It has sold over 20 million copies. Oh yes, and it is When We Meet Mr. Darcy. And if you are a romanticist and you have read these books and watched these films and watched the PBS shows, Mr. Darcy is a very popular character, and he it's played by Colin Firth in some movies, right? Colin Firth, right? I've seen the movies. So wait, stop at the dot. Mm-hmm. So stop it there, not at you. Okay. Here we go. Jane Austen. This is going to be good British Southern. I know, right? It's going to be hard, Jason Cannon, because I'm going to be one of reading it proper British English. I might need more of that, producer says. All right. For the record, have never read this book in my life. Seen the movie. I've seen like 3 versions of the movie. Never read the book. Here we go. Whale. Wait. Whale, said Charlotte. I wish Jane success with all my heart, and if she were married to him tomorrow, I should think she has. Oh my gosh, this is already hard. Well, said Charlotte, I wish Jane success with all my heart, and if she were married to him tomorrow, I should think she had as good a chance of happiness as if she were to be studying his character for a 12-month. That's one word, 12-month. Happiness in marriage is entirely a matter of chance. If the dispositions of the parties are ever so well known to each other or so similar beforehand, it does not advance their felicity in the least. They always continue to grow sufficiently, unlike afterwards, to have their share of vexation. It is better to know as little as possible. Oh my gosh. She picked this. Of the defects of the person with whom you are to pass your life. You make me laugh, Charlotte. But it is not sound. You know it is not sound, and that you would never act this way yourself. Occupied is observing. Mr. Bingley? Bingley? Occupied in observing. Mr. Bingley, attentions to her sister Elizabeth, was far from suspecting that she was herself becoming an object of some interest in the eyes of his friend Mr. Darcy, had at first scarcely allowed her to be pretty. He had looked at her without admiration at the ball, and when they next met, he looked at her only to criticize. But no sooner had he made it clear to himself and his friends that she had hardly a good feature in her face, then he began to find it was rendered uncommonly intelligent by the beautiful expression of her dark eyes. To this discovery succeeded some others equally mortifying. Though he had detected with a critical eye more than one failure of perfect symmetry in her form, he was forced to acknowledge her figure to be light and pleasing. Yeah. And in spite of his asserting that her manners were not those of the fashionable world, he was caught by their easy playfulness. Of this she was perfectly unaware. To her, he was the only man who made himself agreeable nowhere, and who had not thought her handsome enough to dance with. He began to wish to know her more, and as a step towards conversing with her, attended to her conversation with others. His doing so drew her notice. It was at Sir William Lucas's, where a large party were assembled. What does Mr. Darcy mean, said to Charlotte, by listening to my conversation with Colonel Forster? That is a question which Mr. Darcy can only answer. But if he does it any more, I shall certainly let him know that I see what he is about. He has a very satirical eye, and if I do not begin by being impertinent myself, I shall soon grow afraid of him. On his approaching them soon afterwards, though without seeming to have any intention of speaking, Miss Lucas defied her friend to mention such a subject to him, which immediately provoking Elizabeth to do it, she turned to him and said, "Did you not think, Mr. Darcy, that I expressed myself uncommonly well just now when I was teasing Colonel Forster to give us a ball at Meryton? With great energy, but it is a subject which always makes a lady energetic. You are severe on us. It will be her turn soon to be teased," said Miss Lucas. "I am going to open the instrument, Eliza, and you know what follows." And that is where Mr. Darcy starts his interest in Elizabeth Bennet here in Pride and Prejudice from Jane Austen. Tomorrow we will advance the story just a little bit, because clearly we can't read this entire book on reading things with a Southern accent. So we will find the next juicy little tidbit, and by we, I mean the producer will find these pieces and we will deliver to you. Amy Benton. I'm British. Haha. Just don't sound like it. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy, Jason, Becca, Amy, Weston Scows. I said Jason. Mills. Mills is here. Mills Carter. He's from Santford. He was a Lambda Chi at Santford University. And Bree. I don't see Bree. Hi, Bree. Hope you are well. I know the Southern accent might confuse you, Bree, because you're from Jersey and y'all don't understand this stuff. But trust me, it's kind of refined. I think if you read things like Jane Austen and really, really refined British stuff, it lends itself actually more easily than Dr. Seuss to the Southern accent. That's just a little observation I made right here. That's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Murph. This is Reading Things with a Southern Accent 2020, episode 54. Tomorrow night, we'll be back with more Jane Austen, probably slightly earlier than 6 o'clock Mountain Time, but we'll still do it for you. If you have any questions, if you have any requests, if you have any insults, throw them at me right here on the Facebook, and I can respond. If not, enjoy your evening. And as always, please wash your hands. Anything else? No. Good night.